All right. Are you starting?
Are you starting?
Are you starting?
You start this time. Now let me clear my throat.
Goodness. Hot damn.
That's it.
Who is that by, Old Dirty Bastard? It's like I can hear his little voice in my head.
Yeah, I don't actually know who it was though.
I don't know. What in the what was that?
That was me trying to do that. But I can't.
Should keep trying.
Yeah.
One more time. No. No.
Nope.
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 Right. I'm starting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello. Welcome to On the Lamb podcast. I am Tamu. I'm the older sister.
I'm NalediS, the younger sister.
And we are coming to you from Southernish Ontario, Canada. And welcome or welcome back. We have a lot of new subscribers.
I was thinking about that last night, and I was hoping I'd remember to say something this morning that, like, it's getting exciting to watch the numbers grow. It's not like it's not big numbers we're talking about. But
you know what? It's not huge numbers, but every number is important. And It's exciting to think that, like, more people might want to be notified when we're actually posting videos rather than just stumbling upon us by accident. So welcome new friends and watchers. And we're mostly a yarning podcast. A little bit of like whips, a little bit of bows, a little bit of design, lots of rambling about Lord knows what. So buckle up, grab your whip and watch project, and come along.
I was just gonna add thank you to the people that are actually wanting to hear us.
Yeah.
Ramble on and digress and also sometimes show some knitting. Thank you.
Well, we always show knitting.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
kidding. You're gonna have to wait till we get to the
next. But you can speed up.
Yeah.
The talking. So
someday, if we get too much longer, someday we're gonna have to put like timestamp links at the bottom to like, this is when we talk about the next thing. This is when we talk about the next thing.
It's usually like right now, like it's usually the beginning, and then once we like kind of get on a roll, like what usually gets better the longer you watch each episode. So
it's like a fine wine.
Yes. That's what I would compare myself to. Fine wine.
Yeah. What are you wearing?
Abalone. Finally. Hold on, I'm in
like your second abalone, but you still only have one.
Pretty much. Although, where did I stop before? I had the edging. I didn't cast it off yet, though.
Yeah, you hadn't bound off. And
I had some of my sleeves done, right?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
All right, let me put this aside for a second. So yeah, my abalone. It's a free pattern by Beata Jezik. It's been a saga a little bit, although I don't really feel like that. The other like something else I'm going to show that is an FO, but I'm just putting the fringe on it. That's been more of a saga lately. This one is just like I forgot that I ordered enough yarn to do the sleeves. Didn't want to have the extra yarn, and so went back and did it again, but I was happy to do it. Oh, I forgot I was going to bring up how much yarn I have left. I don't really have that much. I still have more yarn than I wanted to have. The yarn is Deniz Fiber Arts, her pure wash worsted weight with the caramel, and I'm really happy with the caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Feel very
You had some doubts in the middle, but now that it's on you, I'm like, oh yeah. Like, I don't, maybe it's just the way the computer's picking up the color, but it's a really good color for you.
Yeah, and it's probably, like, it looks better in person, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, it, with my complexion is what I'm going for. I'm not, like, tooting my own horn. I'm just saying it doesn't look bad on me. I was really afraid that it would bring out the yellow, especially when, like, in winter time, you can really see the yellow undertones in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's okay though.
Yeah.
It doesn't warm me up or anything, but it just doesn't make me look dead.
Yeah, you don't want to look jaundice or like you're decomposing or something.
Right. So yeah, that's the yarn. And what was I going to say? Oh, you asked me before, isn't your edging kind of small? And I was like, no, she said 8 garter ridges. You know, these are all like really good things I'm learning about. And someone says 8 garter ridges, they mean like 8 purl ridges, basically.
On one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it basically should have been like 16, like I would have worked 16 rows.
Yeah.
Then knitting, purl, knit. But I thought it was just 8 rows total. But you know what? I like it like this. Like, yes, it would have covered me more, like slightly, not much.
Yeah.
It's also pulling. I'll show you why, because the bottom. I like the width, how it looks, especially on the sleeve. Oh my.
Yeah, as long as they're matching, I think it's fine. It's just like if you had done the sleeves like more, like a wider and then not as wide on the body, it would have looked kind of funny. But
yeah. So the other thing is, I blocked it last night, and it really grew quite nicely. But this morning it wasn't totally dry, so I put it in the dryer on low heat for like 10 minutes, and it's okay. Like, it pulled the bottom back up, and I don't know, I never got to try it on when it was still wet, but I think this would have been a bit more open. But anyways, this was the first time I'd ever worked an I-cord bind off, and I think I did it too tight because it doesn't really want to lay open for me. That would be the only thing, but I think I'll still like love it. And I think this is a sweater I would wear like with my kids to walk through like the Arboretum and stuff like that. No problem. You know, like, it's almost like, at least it's a sweater that's like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, be super delicate around it. It's my first ever sweater. It's not perfect, so I'm actually gonna wear it. Does that sound weird? I can imagine that though. Like, if I had like a really lovely cashmere sweater, there's a lot of sweaters actually like that are hand-me-downs from Tamu that I'm like, they're my nice sweaters. I can only wear them when I'm going out without my kids and I know I'm not going to go like on a lunch date or something. Like, I can't spill on it because I'm cheap. I don't like shopping either. So anyways, the sleeve, so you can see it's kind of like a bit bulky. That was the other thing that was hard too. Like, because I added the sleeve, it was supposed to only be garter ridges here. No length to the sleeve, but I wanted to make it longer, so I kind of just free formed it, and I left a large area where I didn't decrease at all because I didn't want it to come in too narrow, be too tight, but I think I probably could have decreased it.
Did you like read other people's?
I did. There aren't a lot where the sleeve goes this long.
There was somebody with full length sleeve, and that's what I used, her notes.
Yeah, but I still, because I like to think that I know how to adapt a recipe for my, I don't know what I'm doing. Again, this is like, I kind of have to just do it and make the mistake and be like, okay, well, I should have just done it that way. Because especially with super wash or pure wash or whatever, like the wool really does grow when you block. So it's okay. They're a little bit bulky in that spot, and I don't care. It's just, I'll know better for next time. Anyways, yeah, so that's the length I went with, and I like it. Need to weave in the ends.
What? Yeah.
Need to weave in ends. Oh, yeah, and the other thing is, I think this is the first time I did it. Sorry, I'm going on a really long time about this sweater, but you know what, the periscoping sisters? Of course you do. I was like, what? What are you looking at? I don't know which one's which, though. I think Amy is the Inked Indigo on Instagram.
I don't know. I know of them, but I've never, I think I tried to watch them once, but.
Oh my gosh, they're really funny. I find them funny. especially their first episode that I watched, like I was dying. It was so funny. If you haven't seen the first one, you have to just watch it because it was really funny. They're together, and there's something about like when two people are together, the dynamic is different, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, oh, the Inked Indigo. So she, on her Instagram, every once in a while, she'll post like a Nana knitting tip. And I think Nana is like her mom though, but they call her Nana because they have children. Whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, it's like a Nana tip about knitting. And she was saying, maybe everyone else knows this already, but when you're knitting and you have to change your yarn over, so then you have like two tails coming up the same spot, a great way to like tie them and weave in the ends is to like, you get your tapestry needle on both ends and sort of like crisscross them and like sew them into each other, like sew the needle into the opposite string, and it like crisscrosses them, makes a knot that's like hard to detect, and then you weave in the ends. If you can't visualize it,
like you're just saying, put the tapestry needle literally through the strand of yarn.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, that's not wrong.
To me, if I'm joining in two yarns, so it's like this stitch is one yarn and this stitch is the other yarn, I weave the tails in the opposite direction because it's like where the yarn would have been coming from, so it helps to like close if there's like even the teensiest bit of like a gap there. I don't know if I guess it would depend on like what you were knitting. Like if you felt, I just, in my experience, I don't feel like I would need to do that extra little step, but
it's not, I think for me, because I'm always like nervous about it pulling open a little bit. Like I want it to be like even, like if you would look from the outside, like you want the stitching to always look even and to not slip. I'm always worried about, especially with like slippery-ish yarn, and like work itself back out. For me, it was great. It was a great tip. And
I'm not saying it's a bad tip. I'm just like, personally for me, I'm like, I know how I weave in my ends, that I'm like, just going in opposite directions is like enough that mine are fine. But especially if you only had a short tail left and you're really worried that like it could slip out, that definitely would give you that extra little
just an extra anchor security. And it really wasn't that big of a process. I liked it anyway.
Yeah.
So I used that for the first time with this one, and I also used it on my Rebel Just for Kicks. Which is being a rebel just for kicks. So, oh my goodness, this naughty shawl. Anyway, what are you wearing? Double knits?
I am wearing, hold on 1 second. What I'm looking for. Okay, I don't know what it's called.
Oh, the shawl.
Disdero Ranch.
Is that
it's my secret FO.
That's cool. The yarn looks very much like another shawl you did recently.
I don't know. So it was a test knit for Caitlin F. French, who's F. French on Instagram. And
it's really cool. The text,
like triangle shawl. It's like, it was such a quick knit, and 2 skeins of DK weight, which was nice. So I did a slightly smaller needle just because apparently I don't have a 5.5 millimeter needle in my set. So I was like, I'll use a 5. But I used, this one is, leaving tails everywhere. This is Yarn Ink Butterfly.
Oh, now that you're holding it up like that, it does look very different.
But it's like variegated. There's like purples and black and teal and little spot and like gray kind of background. It's just a gorgeous one. And I feel like she had it on sale in her shop, which is why I only have one. So I just had this one in my stash for quite a while and was not quite sure what to do with it. And so when I saw this pattern available for test knit, I was having like a weird, I don't know if it was like from being sick or it was just because like I have a lot of ideas in my brain and like wasn't sure where to start. Like it's like I knew what I wanted to knit on, but I was like, I'm having trouble with it. And like, just was having like a weird knitting mojo for like 2 days straight. So I was like, okay, I need a palette cleanser. And so I was like, do I want to cast on socks? Like even just deciding on a palette cleanser was too much. So I was like, but what yarn will I use? And do I want to make socks? Well, I don't know. There's like 12 pairs of socks that I really want to make. And yeah, I was struggling. So then I saw this test knit opportunity. I was like, done. Like, no thinking, use someone else's pattern. Test knits always motivate me to keep going. And oh, it was so fast. I cast this on Saturday or Friday evening. One of the two. Friday evening or Saturday evening. Took it off the blocking mat today. It is Wednesday. So it's been done since Tuesday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, when did I actually cast it off? Monday night. And then block date on Tuesday, I think. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, super fast, like a long weekend bit. And we didn't even have any long drives this weekend. So yeah, so DK weight goes super fast. So sorry, this is the other color and it's by, I keep wanting to say the brand wrong. I was trying to find her on Instagram and Boopally Boo. Boopally Boo.
Boopally Boo.
Boopally Boo.
That's cute. I like the.
I don't know. I was trying to put it into Instagram, and I kept putting like B, Polly B, and I was like, no, that's not right. So it's this one is merino nylon. This one is merino nylon, and obviously, well, not obviously to me.
Oh, sparkle.
Some Selena in there. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. So it's like obviously this light gray, but it's really hard to pick up on the camera. But there are little bits of kind of just the teensiest hint of like a bluey teal color.
Yeah. You can
call it the colorway Calmness. So mixed with this, like you can see spots where the butterfly is more gray and teal. They almost like bleed together. So it kind of like breaks up those stripes a little bit. And I just think, oh, they look so cute together. And that little bit of sparkle will make it kind of good for this transition from gray end of winter into gray beginning of spring. So I'm quite happy with that. And that one was housed in this new bag that I got from Riv Creative from Sarah. I I saw this fabric on her Instagram. And I just love how it looks kind of tie-dye, watercolor, bleed. Oh, I just think it's really pretty.
Cool. I thought, I was like, is that an animal? Like, it almost looks like a deer head, the nose and the top, but no. Yeah.
No, it just like, to me, it just looks like you like put the fabric down, because a long time ago I used to paint, and I feel like it just looks like you put the fabric down and put some watercolor on it and then just added some extra water and just like let it bleed and run and go everywhere and look all crazy. So I had asked her if she could make me a drawstring bag. And then it kind of fell off the radar for a little while. We kind of came back together, and initially I was wanting like a small sock sack. And then we decided on something a little bit bigger, and oh, it was like perfect size for this project. It's drawstring, this like nice sturdy drawstring. It's got this like red knit looking fabric on the inside, which is super fun.
Oh, cool.
Pockets, if I can show them and find them. Pockets on the inside. So there's like pen-sized one, and one that I had stitch markers in, and then a bigger one that I had my yarn tags in. And oh, it is a great size project bag. So bug Sarah if you want one. And I will show it just because it's sitting in front of me, and it came at the same time as the bag. Got some new stitch markers. She always has these fun like little brassy shaped ones, and I think I have like nearly all of her shapes, and I had not had these, the teardrop shaped ones.
Is that where the hexagons came from?
Some of them, yeah.
Oh,
I have bigger hexagons that initially had come from a fiber share person. And then I had smaller hexagons that came from Sarah at Riv. And now I think Sarah's offering more sizes of these little brassy ones. So I didn't have any, oh no, that's a lie. I had some round ones that were really teeny that had little charms on them. But these are like, I don't know if it's really easy to see because they're on the pin, but they're like teardrop shaped.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I love that they come on these little pins, so it kind of keeps them all together. Because otherwise I went to Staples and got, you know, this little, I don't know what you call them. They're kind of like binder rings, but without being attached to a binder that you can like open and close.
Yeah, okay.
Together. So I got those to hold a lot of my stitch markers just because I thought, they're a little cuter. And then stitch markers won't get lost and I can keep sets kind of together. But now she has these little pins that are so cute. So that's what I'm wearing here. And then this is my Garconi cardigan.
Okay. I love that you're wearing that sweater because after that one episode, I went and looked, like I was like, there must be on Google or whatever, you could like get someone to like do a voice translation. Mm-hmm. Everyone that I got was garçon.
Oh, because you have to not spell it garçon.
I didn't spell it garçon. I spelled it the exact same way that it's spelled in the pattern.
Oops.
Can you imagine a French person with a beautiful French accent saying garçon? What?
I found it before. I know I did because I remember hearing it.
Garçon.
Oh. It's like garçon, like that the is on the end, but yeah, I don't think I have a hard C like that.
I don't know. We should ask Soline. We'll ask Soline to post a video.
Yes, do. Because I like, and not that I'm, again, not good with the accents or languages, but if you're gonna say it,
yeah,
I'd rather try to say it correctly, in as much as I can say it. Like, I will always be held back by the fact that I have a North American accent, but it'd be nice to know.
Yeah.
The way that you pronounced it is like how a North American would say it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I am also I'm not terrible with all the languages, but definitely no, I'm not French. That's for sure. And I still to this day regret not continuing on with French in school, because I think I, in general, I think in general I was good at French. Like, I can hear it, I can pick it up, but now I'm old and it's not free. I would love to learn other languages, but I don't want to pay for it. And I keep thinking, I should try that Duolingo, and there's like a few different ones that you can try for free or for cheap, like app-wise, but I just think I generally work better in a class type format, you know? I need to be around people to ask questions. This like abbreviation that is bothering me in this book.
All right, we're both very distracted. What's the next thing? What are you looking for? To get your pattern for your podcast whip?
Yes, because you know when you like, not everybody, I guess, as a designer, which I feel comfortable now calling myself, when I get an idea in my brain, there are times where I'm like, I can't sleep until this gets out of my head. Oh, speaking of which, what was I thinking about as I was sleeping last night? Damn it, I knew I should have wrote it down. I don't know. It's gone now. But, okay, so let's do whips. We can always circle back to FOs. Oh, yeah, because I do have another FO. Or let's do a little design segment. I was going to say I'm like whips, and I don't want to jump around because I kind of talked about one of my FOs already.
Just go with the flow. That's a
small design segment.
Yes.
So I got this Borderlands yarn, this Borderlands colorway from Spin Cycle. Talked about it last week. It's 100% BFL, fingering weight,
Okay, yes.
800 yards. It's frickin' gorgeous. So I was like, I need to get something with it right now.
Can you hold it up? Because I gotta remind myself what it is so I can think of the name.
It's caked now, so it's not gonna look exactly the same as it did last week.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So it's like purples, but in that Spin Cycle, hand spun sort of fashion, marled sort of fashion, it transitions, you know, there's purple throughout, but it transitions through kind of subtle stripes of various colors. It's just stunning when you see it worked up. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I gotta cast this on. Like, it's so soft, and I just want it on my face all the time. So I did start casting on, and I had an idea, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is going. But I don't think that the idea that I had is right for this yarn. So I went back, pen and paper, retooled it, and know now that it's meant for a different yarn. It's going to be an amazing pattern. Think camping themed. It's going to be awesome, but it's not for this yarn. So I was like, okay, back to this yarn now, because I still really want to knit with this. Now that I've gotten that idea out of my head, I can like clear the path for this. I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do with this? So I didn't want to frog it because I don't want to overplay with the yarn either and have it get really like minging looking. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave it on the needle, which is also where my knitting mojo was kind of like just fried, because I was like, I really want to knit with this, but if I continue with what I have, it's going to be more to frog, because I know the first part wasn't right. I tried to do something with eyelets, and it just math wasn't working out, because I didn't math it ahead of time. I just thought I could wing it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that works. Often it doesn't. So anyway, so this morning I finally had this like ginormously brilliant idea to pull out The Art of Slip Stitch book. And I don't know what it is about slip stitches, but I just find them like so fascinating. There are like so many interesting things that you can do just by like slipping stitches and working different colors with your slip stitches and wrapping, and like combining slip stitching with like other techniques like wrap stitches and cabling and this and that. So yeah, so I've decided now it's going to be slip stitch. It's going to be probably a triangular shawl with a slip stitch pattern spine down the middle. But it was like, as I'm getting the boys ready for school. So again, I've talked about this before, how like names are really important to me. I don't know why. It's like when the name and the stitch pattern and the image all like kind of go together, it like just, my brain is like, ah! And then I have to do it. So I found this slip stitch pattern. I don't want to give away too much, but I really want to talk about it.
Don't. Wait.
So it's like, yeah, I found a stitch pattern that I was like, oh, that would kind of work. That would look interesting, because I don't want to take anything away from the yarn, and I don't want it to be too complicated, because that's another feature of my pattern design, is that everything is interesting and effective and fun to knit, but definitely achievable for, I think, the average knitter or even like an ambitious beginner. So I don't want it to be overworked, and I don't want to take anything away from this beautiful yarn. I really want to show off the color transitions. And if there's too much pattern, it's going to jumble it and muddle it, you know? So it's like, I figured out a pattern that sparked a name idea. Then I Googled the name, and the word is like exactly perfect in every way. And so it's like all the pieces are coming together, and that was all I could think about. And I'm like, it's terrible, because I have like stuff that I really need to do later today that I'm like, it's going to be really hard to hold myself back from this. So now I'm like, I have the book open to the page I want, but I'm looking at the chart, and I like, there's an abbreviation that I think I know what it is, but I just want to make sure I'm correct before I dive in and figure out that I'm riggedy wrong.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes how things go. Sometimes I make up interesting stitch patterns that way, but yeah. All right, back to faux. Do you have any faux? Just abalone. Okay.
Yep.
Costume change for my next.
Abalone, not just abalone.
Just
abalone.
My next FO.
Yes, nice.
Talk about a saga. I am not pleased. Okay, Let me put it
Did
on.
you block it?
Yes.
Because it looks bigger. The wrong way, though?
No, it's fine, though. It's fine both directions. It's just everything else.
It's just everything else. I have no idea.
I got freaking ends everywhere.
No, talk about ends everywhere. This.
Well, because I striped, and then I striped. What?
Yeah, because I striped and I also had frogged it.
What?
Oh!
What is happening? What? What is this? What? Why? Why, God, why? I can't even. It's making me so mad.
When you pull it down the back, it doesn't shift?
It doesn't.
You didn't put
When I pull it down the back, then I feel like the shoulders.
Yeah.
It just feels not right.
It's awkward.
But it's still rolling. It's still.
Did you put the collar on?
Can you see me? Yes. It's the blue with the collar.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
What?
Pull it down the back more.
I can only pull it down so far, and then it starts creeping back up. And the further down I pull it, then the shoulders sink back. So I'm like, I don't know if I didn't do. The only thing I can think, I'm like, I can't figure out what would make it better. Either it's
more
the
rows in the back,
collar stitches that I need to put more stitches because it's trying to cinch it in, or it's that I need to put more rows in the middle of the back and like open the back up a bit because maybe it's pulling in a bit. I don't freaking know, but I'm only frustrated because I just wanted it to be done, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the pattern. I don't think it's the pattern per se, but I'm partially wondering if it's that this is not the right shape for me or not the right size for me, that I probably should have gone up. And I strongly contemplated it when I was picking my size. So this is, sorry, I haven't actually said, this is my Banal Breeze, finally done.
Yeah, I think you could have gone up a size to like make the length a bit bigger for you. And
I think part of why I didn't, so there's two things that I'm wondering, I guess. One is maybe I should have gone up a size, but two, when I started doing the second half, because it had been so long since I did the first half, I was like not quite sure which size I had actually done because I'm bad and I don't always circle or highlight. But it's like I see that like both sides, like it's not like this is drastically different. So I don't
a little bit though.
Different sizes.
A little bit.
I don't think so. When I actually when you put it down flat, I also think
I don't know if it's just the drape.
The seam wouldn't, like the stitch numbers wouldn't have lined up if I had done a different size. So I don't think it's that. I kind of think it's that I should have done a bigger size for me. Yeah. And what's making me feel very annoyed about it is that there's no effing way I'm frogging this all out and starting again with a bigger size because it was hard enough to get through to this point. And so I'm like, anyway, if it wasn't for the fit, if it wasn't for the fact that it's rolling up like I got a friggin' hunchback, and that like even on the front, like it's, I don't know, maybe I overblocked it. I don't know. There's also another piece that I just remembered.
Yeah, that looks funny. Like it's not sitting flat, it's rolling. And
one other thing that is my fault, and I will admit to, is that so when I cast off, or not really cast off, but did my Kitchenering of the front and back, because that was like my one hack besides the striping. That was my one little hack, was to Kitchener the front and back rather than have like a sewing seam down the front and back. I said to myself, keep these needles in that project bag so that when you have to come back and pick up the collar, you will have the right size available. Then I got all excited about the Borderlands yarn and took the needles. My only 3.75 or whatever size was called for in the pattern, 3.5, I think. My only 3.5 needles, apparently, in the whole freaking house are now in a different project. So I was like, 3.25.
Oh, you went down.
Well, I went down because I also, like, when I tried this on without the collar, it was even more, like, it was so big and gapey. So I picked up all the stitches, did the collar as written, stopped and looked at it. It was still really gapey looking. So I did one extra row and I added some decreases to the collar part. But that wouldn't cause this part. It's the green that's rolling in on itself, not the collar rolls the opposite way. And that's a part that I'm like, I don't know if that's like a blocking issue or how I picked up, like, again, because maybe
I'm gonna tie mine on.
Because I picked up with smaller needle. I don't know.
I think mine, I think all the ones I've noticed on Rav, they do, not all of them, many of them are a little bit hunchbacky.
I don't like that though.
No, I don't like it.
I can't really see it when I'm just wearing it, but I got to do something about this because this is ridiculous too. It's like the way it's rolling on the outside, you can see that edge of the green. And I'm like, it's just not quite right. But I know that for knitting the smallest size for a woman, I do have
mine too.
Broader shoulders. Yeah. But I feel like on yours, like, I don't know, maybe it's on mine because of the contrast collar. If I had knit the collar in the same color, maybe it wouldn't emphasize it so much. Because on yours, it almost looks like it just makes the back look kind of drapey.
Yeah, which is...
I don't know if it's on mine because I knit it in a contrast. It's like, it's really emphasizing that, like, one's rolling in while one's trying to roll out. It's just like, looks like I'm like this.
That's why I was like, just pull it down, because mine is like, you just have to keep pulling it down. And for sure, like, if you're doing anything, it starts to move, but it does shift back up. I think I agree that it could use more rows in the middle.
Yeah.
To open it up a bit more. I was thinking that when I finished mine too. Especially with this yarn, because I was thinking it was just because this yarn is like
stiffer.
It's more stiff. It doesn't really bounce and move with the shape of your body. But it's good to know that
I feel like before I officially abandon it, I may put it in timeout because I'm mad at it. Yeah. Take off the collar, add some rows to the middle back because I kitchenered it. I can just take that all out, which I'm not happy about, but I'll do it to not lose all this yarn and then see how that feels. But if that doesn't fix it, I don't know what. If I frog it, it's for sure I'm never making another one. I'm going to be pissed. And I will not frog it until, this is my thing about frogging is, especially when it's a whole project, I will not frog it until I know what I'm going to use this yarn for. And I freaking love this yarn and it's making me so upset because I really wanted it ready for Easter weekend, which is this weekend for people who are watching this in the future. It is Wednesday and we got Easter plans on Saturday and Sunday. So it's not a lot of time to try to fix this problem. Well, not that this problem would not take me that long to fix.
When you have other things
that trying to add rows and reattach, like redo the collar, it's that if it's going to sit in timeout, it usually sits in timeout for a couple of weeks. It's not going to work. So
good thing you don't apply the same philosophy for your poor children. Yeah.
For me?
It's a good thing you don't apply the same philosophy for your children.
The good thing is
this
will not be yelling at me like, Anyways, not pleased. Anyways, yarn-wise, I'm very happy with how these two went together. The sort of mintier color, which I know my camera is super blowing out.
Not on my end.
It's like kind of a minty, but more on the green side, with neon yellow, pink speckles, a little bit of like blue. I think in here where it kind of looks black is actually like just dark blue that's more concentrated, and then you can see other spots where it's spread out. So this is Grace colorway by, what's she called now? Bay Street Knits. And then this color that I used on the edges, it's kind of like a light pink background with like very similar blue to what's in the Grace colorway. It's called Twilight, and that's by, what's her name on Instagram? Hannah Knits?
Yeah, Hannah Made It. No.
Hannah Made It, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it'll be all at the bottom. So that's my banal. On to the next Sister Kal, I almost said.
Yes, I know.
Now we can finally start another one.
I really want to cast on allspice.
Allspice.
So badly. Like, I cast on a different northbound knitting, at least a much pattern, but what I really wanted to cast on was the allspice.
Well, let's do it.
Let's do it, because it needs to happen today. That's my thing. That's like a burning. I can actually hear the yarn when I sit and knit on the futon, and my like yarn tower is beside me there. I can hear it calling me. It talks to me.
Because are we gonna use
yes.
Mona Lisa?
Yes.
Okay.
And mine's
Is it a one skein project?
I think so.
I think so. Okay.
It better be, because those two want to be together.
I don't know.
This is going out to the public. I think we forget that sometimes. This is like this is a sister conversation that we have. We have to remember, though.
Can you read my mug?
Aquarius, loyal, independent, tolerant.
Original.
We can't see the words in the middle.
Original, independent, courageous, tolerant, mysterious.
Yeah. This is very mysterious.
I'm mysterious.
This is very mysterious. No, that's not mysterious.
The mystery is what I'm trying to.
This is mysterious.
That looks like you're smelling your armpit.
I know, I was thinking that too. Exactly. Is she smelling her armpit, or is she pretending to be a vampire? Mysterious. It actually works. I was just thinking about it. You're like in the grocery store, just stand there like that. As opposed to actually being like, ooh, you're like.
And then when someone gives you a look like, what is she doing? You go. So then they're like, oh,
exactly. So you know what I'm talking about then. Yeah, they're just like, oh. Vampire. So
you don't go. Like, then they're like, ugh, who smells their armpit in the grocery store?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways. That was a weird turn.
That was a mysterious conversation.
Okay. Officially then, Sister Kal, allspice or auspice pattern by Lisa Much.
Oh, man.
I believe it's a one skein project. We're pretty sure.
Can't check my phone.
We are going to cast on this week.
Today.
I don't know if I'm going to cast on this week.
March 28th, 2018. It's happening. Let's be honest. Every time we have a Sister Kal, I'm the first one to cast it on, the first one to knit it obsessively and cast it off. So mine will be done next week. But join our Sister Kal.
We'll just put it out there as like, it's for all of April.
Yes.
Okay. So April, Sister Kal.
Get on it.
Auspice. And if people join and share an FO with us, then we will do some prizes.
Yeah.
What they are, mysterious.
Very auspicious.
I have ideas. Actually, I did. I'll show you something that I got the other day. Yesterday.
I do too. One of them, I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to be a Lisa Much pattern of your choosing. It was originally going to be that we do this pattern and give it away, but I was like, well, we're all knitting it, aren't we? So yeah. We'll all have it.
Here's a pattern you already have.
Yeah. Choose one, because I was planning on the whole story of this. I was planning on buying the pattern to go with my Mona Lisa yarn, and then told Tamu, and the next day she listed it for free, because she does, if you follow Lisa Much. If you don't, follow Northbound Knitting, NB Knitting on Instagram, because she does monthly giveaways and things, and often it's a free pattern for like 24 hours or whatever. So the next day it was on for free, and I was able to scoop it up for free. My hair is ridiculous today. And so yeah, so to support Lisa, because I'm so grateful to have so many of her patterns for free, never actually purchased anything of hers, I'd like to give away something of hers to say thank you to Lisa and to you guys. Pardon my throat. Anyhow, what were you going to say, Tammy?
I don't know.
It's gone now.
It's gone now. Yeah. So I don't know. I was going to say we'll post details in the Ravelry group, but I don't know. I should go back to the drawing board on that, just because I'm not up on the group thing as
yeah,
well.
neither am I. I feel like that too. It would be different if it like notified my phone.
Yeah, I just don't find it to be my favorite way to try to connect with people. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it here / Instagram kind of hashtag thing.
Is that actually how you work that stitch pattern?
No, I'm trying to mark my center
area,
and I was going to use these little wee stitch markers that I just got, but I need to mark those spots so that I can add the stitch marker when I get there. And it's like, for right now, I'm like, I don't have any like safety pins or anything. Like I don't have any off the top of my head. I can't think of like any progress keepers or anything that I have that I can attach mid-row without being at the stitch I want. So I'm just like I have my tails a little bit long, so I'm pulling my tail through to mark that area.
Scared me a little bit. It's like, that doesn't look fun. I was like, where did my shawl go? Okay, what's next? I feel a little scattered this morning. That was the next Sister Kal.
Hold on.
We did FOs.
Mm-hmm.
Did a little designer segment. Designer thought process segment. How about whatever the heck this is? I don't even know if it's a faux, an AFO, a whip. I don't know. It's frustrating is what it is. It's frustrating. This is the frustration.
Almost finished object?
Almost finished, but won't let me finish it because the fringe, man. This is my Rebel Just for Kicks. Oh, I'm so excited about this thing. And I think I'll be happy once it's done and I'm wearing it. But, oh, man, the fringe.
So I thought you fixed the fringe, or like kind of had a solution to the fringe problem.
I do, but
it's not working?
It's working.
You've not done it?
I'm working on it. It's just, okay, I'll get to that. Okay, so this is Rebel Just for Kicks by Gina Jones. It's such a beautiful shawl. Ugh, and especially if you look at, like, it's like, they're triangles, but they kind of, to me, more read like spearheads. And so, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm going to feel like a badass warrior when I finally get this on my body. Spearhead shapes. Cool. So I hacked the pattern a little bit because I used Gina's yarn as well for this. It's DK weight on a tweed base, and I messaged her about the color because we didn't know what the name was. It doesn't really have a name. It was sort of an experimental dye. What do you? I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Dye, sure.
Experimental color. Experimental colorway.
Experimental colorway. It's so beautiful. It's gray with like denim-y blue throughout, and then reddy pinky blips throughout as well with the tweed. It's just lovely, gorgeous. I wish it had a name so that people could buy it because it's really beautiful. And then, of course, the feature of this is the dip dyed fringe. I should show this part of it. So she had sent 2 full skeins, and I think the last skein was a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 skeins plus the ball of fringe, or the mess of fringe.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to like the last pattern repeat, I pretty much still had the smallest skein left. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to incorporate that. So I did do an extra pattern repeat. Like I made this smaller triangle at the end, which wasn't in the pattern at all. You're just supposed to go right from there to the ribbing. I made the ribbing shorter because I actually, again, sort of like this too, I just prefer a shorter ribbing, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I understand that I would have more, I understood even before I made my choice, I'd have extra eyelets to fringe. I knew that. I knew I would have to adapt the fringe for that. The pattern says, and most of the people said as well, you should have enough fringe to do 2 strands of the fringe for every eyelet. And the pattern says, if you start to run out, you can start to alternate you do like every second row, do just 1 strand of yarn. Okay, fine. But I get to doing that and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not going to have, I think I started right away doing every second eyelet would have 1 strand of fringe. And I was fine with that. It actually looked just fine. I didn't have enough going around with that. So then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Tam and I chatting about it, decided I would use my last bit of yarn, because I still had a ball about that size, cut that up into fringe, and I'll just do like a gradient of lighter fringe going into the darker fringe. It's fine. I still don't flippin' have enough. I now have it down to 2 single strands of fringe and then a double, and then 2 strands in 1 hole. So it goes 1 strand, 1 strand, 2 strands. I'm still flipping short. It's gonna be, and it like, okay, I added extra.
It's not like you added that many more eyelets.
No, I was gonna say I added extra eyelets, but not that many. That like I'm down. Like I have to do 2. I get to do 1 strand, 1 strand, and then 2 strands. I don't want to do 1 strand for a section, like of just like 1 strand. It's gonna look so silly. Anyways, that's what's kind of annoying. Is like, I either way, even if I had not added the extra little section, it's like 20 eyelets maximum. I didn't think it was that many.
Like you're saying altogether between the 2 sides or on 1 side?
So just like, on the 2 sides, because this extra section is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I added 10 eyelets, so 10 rows. So it'd be 10 eyelets on this side, 10 eyelets on this side. 20 extra strands of yarn should not make me have to adapt my fringe that much. It's not enough. So I don't know what happened. Like instead of giving me that little ball of extra yarn, that could have been fringe. Then it would have had enough fringe. You know? So I don't know how
you cut up your extra little ball. Oh no, you used some.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, no, I didn't use it all. Yeah, had I known, I would have needed to cut that. If I had not added that extra section at the end, I would have ended up using that ball. It wouldn't have been dip dyed, but all that would have been fringe. Had I known. And what are you going to do? Count the eyelets and count your strands at the start? Like, no. I don't know. You should be able to trust it. So that's frustrating. It's just fringe. Like, it's not like it ruins my whole day. I don't lose sleep over it, but I'm just sort of like, that's not ideal. Anyway, so that's what I'm still working out, is like, you put the fringe on. It's like, oh shoot, I don't have enough. So now I've got to take out everything I've done to like shift it again. You know what I mean? That's what the saga is. The only
other thing I can think to do, I think if it were me, what I'd probably do is like make sure that the fringe is mostly concentrated at the bottom.
That's what I'm doing.
All the dark at the bottom. And then if the tips end up with not as much fringe, because the way I would wear it, when I wrap it around, those tails will be tucked under the fringe probably anyways, and you won't even see them.
Well, that's what I've been thinking. And I mean, it doesn't look bad. Like this right now is every second one is a single strand. So it's like 2 in 1 eyelet and then a single. And that's a nice amount of fringe. Hey, like that doesn't look sparse.
No, that looks good.
So pretty. Like I just want my whole thing to look like that. Anyway. Bummer. Anyhow. Not the end of the world. Hopefully, but and then like now I'm getting to the point I'm like, I don't even want to do it. I just want to do something that's not going to fight me every step. So it should.
Put it in timeout, come back to it.
What?
Said put it in timeout, come back to it.
Well, I'm working on it right now. I feel like this is a good time.
Okay.
To do it. That's your whip is your test knit. What else have you been whipping?
Well, yeah, I guess my test knit's been AFO now, but not much. Like, as I said, my knitting mojo was just dead, so I haven't worked on a lot of stuff. My only other thing really is that I cast on, I'm going to show it just because it's really just ribbed to show, but cast on another test knit, only because I was trying to like keep myself from doing test knits for a little bit so I could focus on pattern finishing for myself. But then this one came out and I was like, oh, I need to make that. So it's for Annie from Boho Chic, and oh my goodness, it's going to be just a gorgeous sweater when it's done. And I had this yarn in my stash. Okay, so this is what I had stashed already. I had 3 skeins of Madeline Tosh, her Tosh Merino, which is a single ply worsted wool. Yeah, just 100% merino wool.
Here, it's really pretty.
And the camera is like not picking it up properly, because I would say in person it's more like dark burgundies and browns. It's very like rich and very tonal, very, very tonal. So yeah, so I guess Madeline Tosh for Jimmy Bean's wool does these like limited colorways every year, and so this was like the January, I think 2017 colorway. And because I think for the whole year she did like birthstone colors for every month, and I'm a January baby, so I had to get the garnet colorway. And I don't know if they only had 3 left or I just only got 3, but whatever. I had 3 of these in my stash, and I was like, oh yeah, that should be this like very long kind of oversized sweater. Because like 3 is obviously not enough for a long oversized sweater for an adult woman. So I took a little drive yesterday to Needle Emporium in Ancaster, which is way closer to me than I thought it was, because they had quite a large selection of the Tosh Merino on, well, in their store / on their website. But looking at it online, I was like, oh, I just don't want to order anything and then have it arrive and go, yeah, that's not quite right. Because I had something else in my stash that I almost thought about striping, but it would have been very high contrast. And I was like, I just don't know if this is a high contrast sort of design, because there's another design feature or another like kind of, yeah, feature element to it that I think anything too high contrast in the body is going to take away from what the sweater's meant to look like. So what I did on my drive, I went to actually see the colorways in person, so I could hold my yarn up with it and make sure that it was going to work together. And I'm really glad that I did, because I had sort of in my head, after looking on their website, a short list of the colors I wanted to see. One would have been way too high contrast. So I was looking at the Duchess colorway, which is very, very deep purple. And I thought with the deep browns that are in here that the deep purple would work, but it was like so purple in person that I was like, oh, that's not even gonna, it's not gonna blend with the dark browns. It's gonna stand out against them and it's gonna look so stripy. What was the other colorway I was looking at? I can't remember what it was called, but in person, it was way more tonal with like really bright purples and kind of orangey colors and stuff. And the thing with like hand-dyed or hand-dyed style yarns, even like ones that are produced on a larger scale, there's so much variation between all the skeins that sometimes you need to get your hands on them to see, especially if you're trying to match colors. So I'm, again, so glad that I just took a drive. Thankfully it's only about 35 minutes from my house, because again, in my head it was like further, and so I thought, oh, it's gonna be like half a day like gone. But yeah, it was pretty good. Just get in, get what I want, get out. So I ended up going with this color. It's called Dried Rose.
Were you good when you were there?
What?
Did you buy other stuff, or were you good? Yeah. When you said get in and get out, I was like, oh, wow.
I was close. And then I've never been there. So this is my first time actually going there that I can recall. If I have ever been there, it's been an extremely long time because I don't remember it at all. But I'm 99% sure I've never been to this one. And so then you got to look around, and they have amazing stuff. They've been there for 30 years, I think. They have amazing things from a lot of really great hand dyers and brands I had never heard of, like more commercial brands that I had never heard of. And so I was like, you got to wander. Then you
don't have
stumble
to.
upon the baskets of discontinued colorways that are on sale, and you're like, well, once it's gone. Gotta get it while you can. It was bad. It was really bad. Anyway, so Dried Rose is the color that I ended up going with because I think it blends really well with the lighter sections of the garnet. So garnet and Dried Rose. Camera is kind of blowing it out, but it's blowing it out equally, so I think it matches as well on camera as it does.
One just looks more red and one looks more purple. Yeah.
I think what makes this one look more purple is the brown.
No, that one to me looks more red.
Really?
But it could just be how it's reading.
Yeah.
More of a reddish brown.
In real life, you can definitely see this is slightly warmer and this is slightly like
cooler.
Kind of grayish, like not even cool, but maybe like gray, like antiqued almost. But again, like the lighter colors in here are very similar to the lighter colors in here, even though there's like a slight difference in like the tone. Like they're definitely warmer here, but not. But I think once I stripe them together, I don't think it's going to be like, it's going to be such a subtle shift between the two that you're not going to read it as like stripe, like with my shawl that I just finished. I
actually, now seeing them, I actually think that you should, and this is just my opinion, should stripe it the whole way as opposed to fading. Yeah. I don't think I would want it to be like, because they're like similar, but the darker color is just like is different family-ish. Not really, but I don't know. Different enough, but they're like the light parts are similar enough. I don't think you'd want to start with it being more like on the purpley side at the top and then more browny reddy on the bottom, you know?
No.
I think that it'll just end up, what's your, not Divergent, what is that shawl I'm thinking of that you were in love with and you striped it with the two Tanis Fiber Arts?
Divergent?
Yeah, it is Divergent, isn't it?
Yeah.
How those two ended up like looking like they were made for each other, you know?
Yeah.
They striped together so beautifully. I think you should do it like that.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking, so I started the rib like all in the garnet colorway. So I think I might just go with that, like keep the rib all dark and then stripe the whole body. And the other reason, there's another aspect to the design feature, which I also was trying to think about how to fade it and have the back and the front, because it is pieced, have the back and the front match up, that I was a little bit concerned about, as opposed to, again, just striping and making sure yarn management wise that I don't run out of one colorway and then need it to balance out, you know, on the other part. And like, if I just stripe the whole thing, it'll take the thinking out of it. So I'm excited to keep going. And then, so one of the things that I also bought yesterday is I bought one. So again, I don't know if I just don't have or what. So I generally use Chow needles now. I really like them. I think the cord is phantasmagorical. It is just so perfect. No memory. Because of the way I store my needles, I generally kind of roll my cords up and you take them out and they're perfect every friggin' time. And I love it. So that I have a set, but the set that I bought was used from somebody else and they had one size of needles missing. And I think it's the 3.75 is what's missing. And I think I have one 3.75 like set of tips that I have, but now again, they're in another project. So I was like, well, while I'm at Needle Emporium, I will get one Licca interchangeable because I've been looking at their sets and eyeing them up and they're so pretty. And I do have a few fixed circulars in small sizes of the Licca. So I thought, oh, I'll just try the interchangeable one to see, like, do I like the join? Do I like how they stay together? Do I like the cord? La, la, la. Because I assumed the cord would be the same as it is on the fixed circulars. This cord is making me crazy. What the F? I took it out of the package yesterday. You would have thought it was a slinky the way it came back flat every time. Whereas like the interchangeables, I store not the interchangeables, the fixed circulars I have of theirs, I store them rolled up and then I usually take like the needle end and kind of tuck it through the middle so it's almost like tied together. When you take them out, they're a little curly, but if you like, you know, smoothing it out with my hand and like, it'll have like a gentle roll, not like this. This is ridiculous. Like this is it's like a spring. It's crazy. And I'm like, I don't understand why. And it feels like you can feel that the cord, to me, feels slightly stiffer than on the fixed circulars that I have of theirs. And I don't understand why the plastic would be different, or if it's just like different batches or what. But I'm like, well, there goes my chances of ever getting that fixed circular set. Oh my God, it's nuts. Anyways, the only reason I really wanted to try their fixed circular set, or another reason that I wanted to try their fixed circular set, is because I like the short tips. So I've learned that about myself since trying the ChowGoos, is that ChowGoo makes 5-inch tips and 4-inch tips. And I really like the 4-inch tips. I just find, especially for working in the round, they just fit my hand so perfectly. And I don't feel like the work is being held like this with these long needles. Because like, it's like 10 inches of straight knitting when you're trying to go in the round. Sometimes it's a pain in the bum. And Licca makes a 3-inch tip. And I looked at them in the store. They didn't have them in the size that I needed. And I looked at them briefly in the store, though, just to see. And I'm like, they almost remind me of like the 9-inch circulars, like how teeny the tips are. So I'm like, I kind of want to try them just to see. But anyways, I don't think I will be getting a Licca interchangeable set anytime soon. But I'm happy to I'm glad that I tried them this way, as opposed to saving up, buying the whole set, and then realizing I really don't like the cords. That would have made me furious, George. So only because it's like a lot of money to invest and then discover that you don't like something. And everybody's reviews of them have been really, really strong that I've seen.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about. I've not heard.
But I don't know, like maybe people are storing their cords differently, because this is literally the cord how it was when I took it out of the package. So this is how they packaged it, was very rolled up and then making this situation. And I know that you can soak it in warm water or hot water, and that should straighten them out. But I'm like, quite frankly, I don't do that. I don't care.
Why not then? Why not try? So it makes it more comfortable for you.
If it was a one-time fix, I would do it.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, I'm going to store it at some point. When this project is done, I will put it away for storage. And then the same thing's going to happen the next time, I assume. I guess I should try it out and see.
Yeah.
I assume that once I roll it back up and leave it stored for any amount of time, the next time I pull it out, I'm going to be in the same situation. And I'm not going to soak it every time, because most of the time I'm quite comfortable sitting on my couch and I don't want to get up. Like, I want to cast on. I don't want to, it's bad enough sometimes when I have to wind yarn just to cast on. Like, when I have the idea of I'm going to cast on right now, I'm going to cast on right now, not in 20 or so minutes when my needles are done cooking. Ridiculous.
When you can take it out of the pot and sticks to the cover.
Anyways, so I love their needle tips. I love this part. The actual needle is really lovely for a wood needle, but just not so pleased about the cord. And someone said that the needle tips fit on a different brand's cords.
Okay.
I can't recall. I feel like they would fit on the Knit Picks cords.
Okay.
But I'm not totally sure. And for a second, I was I don't think I don't have any that I know where they are if I do.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure now I've given them, well, except for
you should have green ones.
That's in the Tunisian crochet project.
It's in the project. Okay.
I guess I could just take the end off and see if it fits, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, because I got a stopper on the other end too. The funny thing was, I was like, I'll see if it fits on the ChowGoo end. So some cords are a male end in that they have the screw part attached to the cord, and some are a female end where you screw into the cord. I was like, doink, 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 because they're both male ends. I was like, well, I guess they're not going to fit.
That solves that one. That answers that one.
Yeah. Anyways, the only thing that actually could work if I used one of the cord connector pieces, but I feel like that's too many things. Anyway, it's an experiment. I should see though if it fits. Now I'm curious. Anyways, I'll show you the other thing I got. Hold on. I wasn't going to show you. I was going to pretend I didn't get anything else.
I had to ask, of course, right? That's funny. My fringe is so close to being done. So close.
You're not touching me, are you?
No.
Okay. So the woman who was working, I think she said her name is Lynn, maybe, was wearing, I think it's called l'envelope. Again, my stellar French skills. This pattern on Ravelry that I have had favorited for a really long time. I go back to visit every once in a while because I really wanted to make it. And for some reason in my head, I thought that it was written for fingering weight. I don't know. I misremember things a lot. Yeah, I thought it was written for fingering weight, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of yarn and la 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 la. So whatever. I've never tackled it, even though it's a really cute pattern. Like I would kind of describe it as like a shawl, like a one-sleeved shawl cowl type thing. So it's like kind of comes down like a shawl in a point. It has like cowl around the neck and then one sleeve so it'll stay on. Are you done?
Ah, shite. What? Every time I think I am.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I thought I was done.
Yeah, so it's really cute pattern and very wearable. So she was wearing hers while working, and she was saying like how it is like, and I recognized it right away, but I couldn't think what the name was. So we were chatting about it, and it's just like, she said it's perfect for her for work because sometimes wearing like a large shawl or something, you bend forward and it falls into whatever you're working on or whatever, you know, food or whatever, it'll like, you know, fall. And I find too, for me, wearing large shawls, sometimes it's hard for me to keep them on if I don't have them tied or pinned. And I often forget to pin things. I'm getting better at tying things because now I have things that are actually long enough to tie.
Yeah.
For a long time I made smaller shawls that aren't really tieable without this giant knot at the back of the neck, which I don't like. Anyway, so I was like, all right, I think I'm finally going to make this. And of course, at the back of the store in one of the rooms, they had a basket of Madeline Tosh colorways that are, she said, either like discontinued or kind of seconds. And they were on sale, which is like, the S word is my kryptonite. Mm-hmm. So I bought 3 skeins to make l'envelope.
Nice.
They're not exactly the same. So
yeah,
these are called chicory. So it's kind of like, I would say like it reminds me of like a Free of Fibers kind of patina colorway. So it's like this dark tealy greeny kind of color with like this browny gray kind of color over top. And I just think it's very dark and moody and kind of dynamic, but I feel like it'll work for like as a pseudo neutral, you know, like an interesting neutral to wear over top instead of a full-on sweater or a jacket. And then this colorway is called Rainwater, and they had other skeins of it. My camera's making it look a little bit more kind of yellow.
It really reminds me of that Gradient by Tennis Fiber.
Yeah, ish, the darker tones in it. Yeah. They had other skeins of this, and the other skeins were very like denim blue with darker spots, more like this, like not as high contrast, but just kind of that, you know, the lighter areas were more like a denim blue, and then the darker areas were a bit more gray. Whereas this skein is a little bit more evenly blue-gray. Okay. So what I was kind of thinking is, because there were only 2 skeins of the chicory, and I was like, once I saw it, I was really
love that name, chicory.
Yeah, me too. Once I saw it, I was like, I'm really committed to this. And at first I only saw one, and you should have seen me like a feral animal digging through that basket. Because I was like, I hope nobody comes back here. I was like, kind of like, please let there be another one. Please let there be another one. And then I finally pulled it out. I was like, yes, look, it's mine. Because I had also, there were other colors that there would have been enough. And this
is back there.
Someone comes near the basket and I hiss at them. This is Tosh Vintage. So it's a worsted weight, superwash merino. I've used it before. I used it in that Candygram cowl, the like peach and kind of brown color that I made of Deniz's. Yes. I really like this yarn. It is just amazing. So this base, I mean, and I really like this colorway too. But yeah, so I like found that second skein of chicory. There was another colorway that I liked that they had 3 skeins of, but it was like similar in this color patterning, but it was very purple, like a really like dead on true purple, fair, kind of bright. And then like the other dark areas were more like a very black purple. And I was like, but I have a lot of purple already. And so I was like, I'm just kind of feeling like I need to switch up my color choices a bit more. And I don't usually do green. And I was thinking about doing like, they had 3 skeins, I think, of the rainwater in the DK weight, because there was a basket of vintage and a basket of Tosh DK. And I almost did it in the rainwater, but that was like, the actual true color with the rainwater was more of like a medium denim blue, like a medium pair of jeans. And I was like, if I wear it with jeans, I'm going to feel like I'm wearing a knitted jean jacket. Like, and I don't know. I have like weirdness. I know it looks really good on some people, but for me, sometimes I feel like an outfit that's too matchy-matchy, I feel like a little kid, you know? So I'm just like, I can't wear a denim colored sweater with my denim colored jeans. So that is my story. I'm going to knit l'envelope.
Nice.
I think it'll be good, like instead of a spring jacket, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's nice, like, again. Oh, yeah, that's what she was relating it to. She was saying kind of like a poncho in that you have like front and back coverage and then the one sleeve to hold it on, but without the like bulk and heaviness and length of a full size poncho. Like a ponchette. Anyways, so add that to my queue to knit sooner rather than later.
Nice. Sorry, I'm distracted because I have one hole and I have to like one hole and no fringe, so I have to find 2 pieces of fringe from somewhere else in the project. Oh my gosh.
Almost done.
Almost. I know, it's like so close. I have 2 more things, but just like.
Oh yeah, did your package come yet?
No. Not yet. I was like, Jason, there's yarn coming, but I didn't pay for it. My hair is really crazy.
Because I checked on the shipping of the tracking yesterday, and I think it said expected delivery was yesterday. But it didn't have a service. Well, but I know that happens a lot because it's just coming from St. Thomas, which is like near London, if you know. It'll say it's coming sooner than it is, and then it always comes like the next. So I'm assuming it'll come today.
Yeah, hopefully it comes today. That's good because I've been wanting to work on the leg warmers. This is the package is yarn for the leg warmers. Oh, so I can finish the second one. I'll just show it really quick. I won't even talk about the yarn actually, but this is what we're talking about. The leg warmers. I have this much left of the gray to try and. So that'll be good. And talk about that probably again when they're done, and they'll probably be done next week. We'll see. Anyways, this is what I cast on when I was like, I really just want to cast on the auspice. It's Electrium.
Oh, right. I was like, I recall you telling me what you were planning to knit with that yarn, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so it's Rachel Mack Textiles, which interestingly, so I put a project put a project page on Ravelry yesterday. I was trying to input the yarn, and interestingly enough, so the band says Rachel Mack Textiles. Mm-hmm. She's from Fredericton, New Brunswick. But what came up when I was trying to I think I started putting like Rachel Mack, mm-hmm. and then I hit that little infinity symbol, whatever it's supposed to be. And what came up was Rachel Ann McGilvery, which is somehow I figured out. Oh yeah, because it says on here on Facebook it's Rachel McGilvery Textiles. Yeah. So it's the same person, but somehow for some reason it comes up. And what tried to populate was bulky yarn. I was like, well, that won't do because this is not bulky, and it just automatically did that as soon as I clicked Rachel Ann McGilvery. Anyhow, so
because because Ravelry is all user driven, right? So if she changed her Ravelry name or
that's what I'm thinking.
Same with that yarn that I used for my Banal Breeze. Her business name was something different when I first bought that yarn. So if I try to put it in as what I bought it, it will automatically switch it to the other. But if she hadn't put that base online for some reason, then obviously it won't come up, you know?
Yeah. No, I figured that. So for sharing with other people, the band says Rachel Mack Textiles, but if you're looking for her now, I'll plug it at the bottom. Look for Rachel Ann McGilvery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, the only base that came up is the bulky, but
I didn't fiber share buddy and shared those with me.
She was your fiber share buddy?
Pardon?
She was your fiber share buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I was her sharey. She was my sharer.
Right, you received something. So how long ago was that?
I guess technically 3 fiber shares ago, I think. So like I didn't do this most recent round. That's either just finished or in progress. I think it's just finished. Not the previous one, but the one before that, I think. They all kind of blur together. Yeah, I think,
Which would be like 6 months ago-ish?
Yeah, I don't know. Last year sometime.
Okay. So 2017. I'm just trying to get like a timeline of when.
They're beautiful yarns, beautiful colorways.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything against her yarn or that I didn't want it. I just I have so much. And I was like trying to think like who Naledi will actually use this in a timely fashion, whereas I don't want it to just sit forever. So I was like, all right, you do something with this.
It's really pretty. Like I'm so excited about this purple gradient because it goes from like electric purple in some spots. I'll try and see if I can show a strand of it. I don't think it'll come up really. No, that does not look at all what it looks like. It's like this strands of like electric purple and then like down to like a light, beautiful, like rosy kind of color. Mm-hmm. Like it's just such an interesting mix. There's like an auburn. It's almost like some brown blips in some spots. Just really pretty. And then this gray, which is also quite a lovely gray gradient as well. And it's got this like really hand spun ropey kind of look to it. I don't know if you can see.
It's a high twist for sure.
High twist.
I can't recall what the base is. I think it might be merino nylon, whatever. But yeah, it's definitely a high twist.
Yeah, 100% merino.
Yeah.
If I'm
not mistaken, she's like a textile teacher.
Okay.
Out there, because I think there was some point we were going back and forth, and she said something maybe about teaching or school schedule or something. Actually, it's funny because I think I had 2 teacher sharies back to back. But yeah, she said something about teaching. I was like, oh, what do you teach? And I think she said textiles, and I was like, why do you live so far away from me? That's like one of those things I'm like always have wanted to take would be textile program, but around here that I know of, I haven't really done extensive research, but around here that I know of, a lot of the textile programs are like, they incorporate a bit of everything. And I'm like, I don't know that I would have, like if I ever really want to like go back to college and take a textile program, I'm like, I don't think I could hold my own at a college level or university level, like sewing class or anything. I'd be screwed. So anyways.
I just don't know if I love it for this project.
It looks like a butterfly wing to me, like, or like a negative of a butterfly wing somehow, you know?
Yeah.
It looks really pretty, I think.
It is pretty, but when I look at Lisa's,
she does a lot of like black and white or kind of gray and white.
Yeah, but there's something about like the yarn quality, whatever she's using. I don't know. I don't not like it. It didn't come out the way I thought it would look exactly. And I don't really have the vocabulary to explain what I thought it would look like instead.
The only thing I can say from looking at it here, obviously I haven't seen it in real life, is that because you have a high contrast pattern and maybe the stitch pattern, I can't quite tell if it's all garter or
all garter.
Yeah, all garter with a high twist yarn. Like high twist yarns will have a lot of stitch definition. They won't have that softness of like a yarn that's made of like more plies and you don't see that ropiness. So it's like I personally, and I don't know if this is like a whatever thing that you could find online somewhere that explains it more, but a high twist yarn with certain kinds of stitch patterns, like a garter stitch, which is already very textural, just like ups the texture factor even more. So it's giving it like you've got texture on texture, you know? which is not bad. You just have to know, like, is that the look that you're going for?
Well, thank you for saying that, because that's what I was feeling like. I was like, I can't explain why it looks different to me. Like hers is more like smooth looking, and mine just looks a bit more like, yeah, it's just more textured looking, and I couldn't figure that out. And I was like, I'm not unhappy. It wasn't the look I was going for. So that really helped me to understand now. Yeah. Like, you know, because I'm like, something's different, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I think I might frog this and find a different project for this yarn and then different yarn for this project. 'Cause I love both, just not together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love them striped together. Like, I think I would want to keep using these two together, but it might end up frogging it.
Yeah.
Jason was like, just keep going, honey. Just keep going. He didn't say honey, just keep going. Like I think you just need to see it bigger. I was like, but then I don't want to make it bigger when I already know something's not quite right at this point. And then frog
you'd know, but to me, in my opinion, you'd know by now. Like if you're looking at it now and you're already thinking like, man, this is really textured, other than it just growing on you, making it bigger isn't going to change the texture.
No, I know.
Right? Like, it's going to always be.
He was being supportive with my
because point. It's bumpy with a bumpy textured yarn, right?
Yeah.
Like you got bumps on your bumps.
I don't need bumps on bumps. No one really does, but what?
That sounds like an STI. Got bumps on your bumps.
So I'm gonna frog this and start my allspice.
Yeah. I think that I feel like there are people out there who have written blog posts and whatever about things like that, or advice posts about things like that. So like if you're curious or you want to like learn more about that, or anybody else for that matter, you could Google like, you know, best projects for high twist yarn, and see what comes up, because I think high twist can be good for, say, cables or certain kinds of stitch patterns where you really stitch definition is really important, you know, where you really want to see every single stitch.
It's funny because I had that instinct, so I was like, I don't understand what the problem is. I don't know what to like search, but I was like hand spun. I was like trying to search hashtags on Instagram with the hashtag hand spun, so I could see. And I know you could like go to Ravelry or something, and also, but I was like, I can't figure out what it is about this yarn that's different, that like how to search it. So that's what I will do now, is Google what did you just say?
High twist.
High twist, thank you. I should make a note. I actually have a pen here. Anyway, so those two colors, the purple was Candied Plum and the gray was Silver Spoon. And stay tuned to hear what they become instead. Hand spun. And otherwise, I've been working on my test knit for you. The Lolo did it.
I was like, what? What are you test knitting?
Yeah. My scrunchie, look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have to put a little marker when I do my increase, because I was finding I could not read it.
Yeah, did I put a note about that?
No. Oh, but that's what you would have put a note about? Put a marker where you increase.
Yeah, what I ended up doing was
isn't that yarn so fun? Oh my goodness. I think this is me anyway. Like I think I still would rather wear the other one that you used, the pastel-y. This would be good for you. But it's beautiful. It's so funny. Funky, not funny.
Yeah. I like them both.
I'm really glad that the pink is showing up so dominantly, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because some of these sections, like, that's kind of ugly, you know, it's like dirty, and it's like ends up being orange and black.
Yeah, they get muddy
mixed together, and it makes it's not a nice mix.
Yeah.
But like with that bright pink, it's like it calms down the pink a little bit, you know. So I like it. It's fun. But this would be more your personality, I would say.
Yeah. You knit the older sister one.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about that?
What
I ended up doing, because I also was finding like sometimes I was kind of holding it back and going like, where is that increase? Not so much I don't find it as bad on the left side one, but on the right side one, like if you're holding it facing you, the first one that you would approach, like marker 1, that one, I would be like, I can't see the increase. But then I get to the other end and be like, oh, it's right there.
But you don't have to do that every time. You
and like, you don't want to be like, oh, is this the increase? Okay, back to here. And then, no, I don't want to do that either. So what I was doing is just placing a progress keeper on the strand, like basically on the ladder going across. So like I just knew, and I just couldn't figure out, we got to figure out like how to write that into the pattern so that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like at first I was trying to put it on the increase stitch, but then I kept finding something would happen and it would kind of move, and then it was making it still kind of confusing. So it was just kind of like on the row where you come all the way across first, like kind of like the row, the right side row before you do the increases, I was putting it onto that ladder. So it was like, I know if there's a marker here, then I've done the increase on the last one, and then the next one is just going to be even kind of thing. Anyways, none of that makes sense to anyone but you and I, but yeah. By the time we release the pattern, there'll be some tip and it'll all make sense. Yeah. Speaking of releasing patterns, I'm really hoping that possibly today, if we can get off the computer, that I can do that little tutorial for that stitch.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we didn't do that last time. I completely gapped. There was something else I wanted to do while I was at your house too. And
there was you wanted to block keyed up. You wanted to.
Yes. Which was fine. I worked it out at home. But
yeah. And you're going to take pictures of something, I feel like. But
no, I wasn't, because I didn't bring my camera down. I knew I wouldn't have time.
Oh, right. Oh, right. I was asking you about bringing camera to do that filming, but.
Can we just have a pause for a moment?
What? Is done?
Oh my gosh.
Did you fill it all in?
Yeah.
Good. It wasn't so bad. Are you going to molest her in a little bit, or are you going to cry?
I might That was wrong. That's not how I wanted that to come out. That's not how I wanted that to come out. Oh man. You just never know what's going to come out of my mouth. That's what, like, I am a habitual line crosser.
I feel like
I didn't even mean to say that.
That whole sentence.
You should what?
I feel like you should just either cut that all out or put a beep over that whole sentence. Just like,
but I didn't.
There's no way to explain that in a way that doesn't just sound really, really bad.
Really bad. I'm going to beep it. I won't cut it. It'll beep it. And just know, people, I'm sorry you won't get to hear what I said, but I'm also glad that you didn't get to hear what I said.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah.
I kind of started it with what I said, but it sounded really bad.
It was weird. We don't need to go there. So,
anyways,
let's just take a moment now. Quietly. I'll take a moment of silence.
Nicely pet the shawl.
I'm all dressed up with no place to go today. Look at me. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Just need to put some jeans on. Take a walk around the neighborhood.
Now you need to go film a little music video with that song playing.
Right? I should do like a Christy Glass when she does like a AFO video, and she's like, I love when her husband does his. He's like,
his sweater.
Clearly that's the huge sweater. Oh man.
The video was so cute though.
Yeah.
And it's always hard, I feel like, when we're trying to be like honest about our knitting experiences, but you also don't want to like hurt anyone's feelings. And so it's like we're trying to say stuff in a very diplomatic like way. And it's like sometimes it just is what it is, like,
Yeah, like this. I feel bad complaining about the fringe. I don't want this to sully anyone's experience. I want someone to hear my complaint and be like, okay, I'm gonna knit that, and now I know.
Yeah.
Careful with the fringe so that you're not frustrated with the fringe. Yeah.
Did you tell Gina that you were having trouble?
She saw an Instagram story that I was like, and it wasn't a complaint. It was just more like I had it on. I had this like, roses on my head because I was wearing it. But the next one was like, I ran out of fringe. Like there's this huge gap. And that wasn't even all the gaps that I had. Whatever. So she knows. I know because she would have seen it. She knows I didn't have enough fringe.
Just because like in this case specifically, it's not like there was because I don't know, I don't recall how it's written because I haven't gone back to do another one yet. And I did it when it was a test knit, so there's still like stuff missing, but I don't recall if there was like a recommendation of yardage needed for the fringe if you were cutting your own fringe. Like this,
no, that would be a good tip.
Together. So that's the part that it's like,
that would be a good
tip. Is the recommendation in the pattern right, but maybe the kit was short for some reason, or because that's the thing is like she kind of needs to know on both ends if she's putting out kits and the fringe is not going to quite make it, then either a tip about how to spread it out more or add more to the kit, or, you know, that is like, it's important feedback, not just for like people planning their own project, but sometimes like with my banal, I don't think it's the pattern. I think it's something that I've done. I'm not saying like anything against that pattern. I just know like these are things that I need to figure out for myself. But with that, it's like, it might be the kit, like, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear you right now because all I can hear is my shawl. Sorry, I'm so distracted.
All right. It's like friggin' late, so.
I don't know how this happened.
I think we started late, but I didn't really look at the time. So sometimes this happens. I don't really look at the time when we start. I just look at the time towards the end, and I'm like, jeepers, creepers, I gotta go. I got shiz to do.
Yeah.
Oh, and did I tell you I finally decided on sweaters for these buttons? Buttons for this sweater.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
I haven't put them on yet. I'm just gonna use
them.
Yeah. Cool. I had these like black acrylic buttons that to me like kind of fit the era, not exactly, but they have like a little bit of like an Art Deco-ness to them because the buttonholes, there's 4, and they're like kind of rectangular coming out from the center. And then they're black and they're sparkly on the top. So I was like, well, before I order buttons, I better go through my buttons and see if I have anything that would work, because I don't want to like, you know, get something and then be like, oh, I totally had buttons. Anyway, so I like kind of held them up against the thing and I was like, oh, those actually would be really cute. So I think I'm just gonna do that. Because I tried looking for leather buttons or leather looking buttons, and oh my goodness, it is hard to find buttons online that are like exactly what you want.
Right.
You know, like it'd be different if I was like, I want to whatever, sew a shirt or knit a sweater that has like a cardigan that has buttons. If I bought the buttons first and then worked it backwards to figure out the yarn, that would be way easier. I feel like trying to find buttons after the fact is impossible. I ended up on the website for Mood, which is like a fabric store in New York that you always see on the Project Runway show, because I figured, well, they're going to have tons of buttons. They have way too many options. Super expensive. Like it would have been like $30 worth of buttons. It's like, no. I'm sorry. No. And I don't really want to use real leather because like if I ever wash it,
yeah,
it potentially be ruined and dye could come out, and like also I was like, this is a pain in the butt. So I was like, F it. I'm just gonna use plastic buttons.
Yeah.
In worst case, I can always change buttons.
Yeah.
Easy thing to switch later on, right?
Yes.
Anyways. That is all.
Cool.
Folks. Thinking about what I have to do now, and I'm like,
I was like, what was that?
I'm hungry. It's not helping either. But
okay, well, let's just go, and then you can really plan what you're gonna do.
Okay, we're gonna say goodbye now.
Bye.
Finally, let's post details on Instagram about the Sister Kal, the auspice or auspice.
Auspice.
Shawl, and any like low requirements and stuff that'll go along with that, and a dedicated hashtag for that so that people can join us if they have room in their whip basket and want to cast something else on. And otherwise, we will probably see you next week.
We will definitely see you next week.
Well,
yeah, it's true. We're gonna have the flu again. We're like, oh, you have to come on.
Like typically when I say something's for sure gonna happen, it does not happen.
Yeah.
We'll probably see you next week.
We hope to see you next week.
Like hopefully, yes, we hope to see you next week.
We always like to see you. I want to actually see you. But
virtual knit night or something.
Yes. That's kind of what Christy Glass does on Sundays with the Doodler.
You still don't get to see
You don't get to see them, but you get to see the comments come up.
Live chat,
yeah. Anyhow. Okay.
Yeah. Tag us in a picture of you like knitting or ooh. That'd be a good. Okay, we'll think about this for next week and we'll come back and I have an idea. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Knitting.
Yarn on.
Yarn on.
Bye.
Bye.